Hi guys. I am just coming in from school, so bear with me. Hopefully you can hear me. Somebody let me know if you can hear me or not. I don't know if you know traffic, but coming out of Baltimore is very frustrating, okay? So, and I live like 35, 45 minutes away from University of Baltimore, so traffic is the worst sometimes. But I'm just getting home, so please pardon the lateness. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you guys tell me what state do you live in? I live in Maryland. Um, can someone tell me in the comments if you can hear me or not? So we are going to talk about the Idaho 4 case. I hardly ever go live, but here I am because there seems to be a lot of confusion when it comes to me and when it comes to this case. We can hear. Thank you, Emily. Um, should I make the mic louder or is it loud enough, Emily? Scotland. We have Scotland in the house. Oh my God, Scotland. I made it to Scotland, guys. Um, I got my little Idaho binder here, or file folder, should I say. I really like you guys because when I say I just came from school and before I came home, I got Chipotle. So I am waiting to eat my Chipotle because I promised that I was going to go live at 5 o'clock. So here I am. I don't want people to say that I don't hold true to my promise. So, and I love Chipotle. So for me to wait to eat my Chipotle and get on live and talk to you guys first, appreciate me, okay? Because I'm hungry. Let me get my documents as everybody's coming in. School is draining me, guys. I'm telling you right now. Okay. Welcome, everybody that's coming in. Emily is my moderator. Emily, you know what to do. If anybody get out of hand, kick their ass out. That's just how we're doing it. This is my page. We're gonna do it how I see fit. Oh my God. There's so much to unpack, guys. There's really so much to unpack. I only plan on being on here for an hour. Again, if you are new here, welcome to my page. My name is Justine. I graduated last year with my paralegal degree. I am in the second semester of my junior year at the University of Baltimore, studying criminal justice / criminology with a minor in victim studies, and I take my LSAT this summer. So I got a lot going on, bro. Like, so much. Hi from North Carolina. Hi. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm just like all over the place. All right, I'll give it a couple more minutes and then we're just going to get into this case. And I just don't understand how people can see my thoughts as being so controversial regarding this case when in actuality, I am just stating the obvious. I am pointing out the things that don't make sense. And maybe a lot of people don't know this because I just gained a lot of people. Hi from Seattle. Hi. A lot of people don't know this because I have been reposting a lot of old Idaho 4 videos. So, and I don't always clarify what is old and what is new. So, I do understand sometimes when people get confused and things like that. But I have to get better at saying what's an old video and what's a newer video. But I just want people to see how my thoughts have changed over time because in the beginning I did not question Dylan Mortensen or Bethany Font. I did not think that it seemed off, but I did not know or I did not suspect in the beginning that Dylan Mortensen or Bethany Funk had anything to do with this. I just thought it was an unfortunate situation. But as more things come out, it's like, how can you not question them? Okay? I am like, people crucify me for questioning them, and I just don't understand it. Those are not my people. Okay? But you guys are my people. So we are going to talk about this. And this is my thing. Of course, none of us will know how we would act in a said situation like that, okay? That is an unthinkable situation, all right? But to say that you wouldn't call 911 because you wouldn't know what you would do in that situation is a little bit ludicrous, okay? I think that that is a bold-faced lie that people are saying. I will call 911 for the littlest thing. I remember, when a tornado hit my neighborhood back in 2021 and I was the only one home. Everybody else was in a hotel, but I wanted to be home. And I heard like some noise, the slightest noise downstairs. What did I do? Do, do, do. I called 911 real quick. I don't care if it was nothing. I don't care if it was something, okay? I just knew that something was off and I needed to call for help. 5-year-olds can call 911. So the fact that people are comparing Dylan Mortensen to a child, saying, oh, she was in shock, she didn't know what to do. She was not in shock, you ding dong. Look at the documents. The people who were saying she was in shock for 8 hours, they're now trying to change their stance on things, but yet they're still defending her. And I just don't understand. Why is it that no one, let me see. I do want to say, if you want to follow along in the documents, some people don't know where to find them. So I am going to put the website up so you guys can look at the documents yourself while I'm talking about it. There's a way that I can post the website so you can look for the document. So hang on one moment so I can do that. I hope okay, I'm gonna put it in the comments. Emily, I'm gonna put the website in the comment. If you can pin it for a moment so people, as I'm reading the documents, for the people who don't have the documents in front of them, they can just log on to a computer and follow along with me. So I'm putting it in the comments right now so you guys can go to the website, look, and I'm going to tell you where I'm reading from so that way you can follow along with me. Everything that I've stated about this case regarding my thoughts and my theories have all stemmed from these documents in some way, shape, form, or fashion, which is why I don't understand when people say I'm spreading misinformation, because I'm like, it's in the court documents, genius. If you read it, you wouldn't know that. That's how I know that people do not do their research. Okay, I just put the website in the comments if you want to follow along with the documents as I'm reading. The document that I am going to start with is it is motion in limine number 7. It is the witness identification by bushy eyebrows, and by witness we all know that is Dylan Mortensen. Okay. This is the document. Everything that I'm stating is from this document. So if you want to follow along, I posted the website in the comments section. Copy it, paste it into your browser, and then go to motion in limine number 7. Okay? That's where I'm working with right now. So, dun, dun, dun. All right, so motion in limine number 7. I am going to be I'm going to be on page 2. I'm going to start on page 2 of this document. Again, as I'm talking, guys, I cannot read comments as I'm talking. My moderator, Emily, is in here right now. I would do questions at the end. If there is a question that you want to ask me, or if you're curious about something, there would be a time for that. But as I'm talking, I am not reading questions. So don't think I'm ignoring your questions or that I'm being rude, as people tend to think I am, which at this point, I don't care. But yeah, so that's why. Okay, so I'm in, again, motion in limine number 7, witness identification by bushy eyebrows. I am on page 2, and I think that this document is very, very important, because it's important in the sense because Dylan Mortensen, as described, is the only person alive who's seen this alleged intruder. The defense is arguing that her testimony should basically be thrown out because she is an uncertain witness. Dylan Mortensen stated that she had fuzziness, she didn't know what she was experiencing was real, she was under the influence of alcohol, and then she also stated she suffered from, like, sleeping issues and dreaming issues. Like, to me, that already starts off as a foundation, as if there's something wrong with this young lady. And I am not trying to be rude or funny when I say that, but there's already something that's not right. And then when she was given a photo of Bryan Kohberger, she couldn't recognize him. And my question is, when they showed her this photo of Bryan Kohberger, did they show her a full face photo of him, or did they show her a replica of the ski mask that she allegedly saw this person wearing and covered his nose down to his mouth, and I'm assuming his forehead up? Okay, so basically this part here is what she could see, allegedly. But she was so drunk. But for somebody who was so drunk, she remembers so goddamn much. But I digress. Okay, so It goes on to state, we're now on page 3. It goes on to state that Dylan Mortensen, her interview on November 13th, was inside. Oh, wait, no. When was her first interview? Just when she peeped. I just don't understand how people just can't put two and two together. But not everybody's good at math. I get it. Okay, so on page 3, it says, shortly after seeing the intruder, Dylan Mortensen went downstairs to Bethany's room. The two girls fell asleep. Roughly 8 hours later, a 911 call was made from Bethany's phone at 11:56 a.m., which I would say I was wrong about that, because I always assumed that the 911 call was made from Dylan Mortensen's phone. And I only said that because she saw the intruder. She was apparently like the person who like had all of these interactions with these people, so I just assumed that it came from her phone, but allegedly it came from Bethany's phone. Now, we are giving so much contradicting information. This motion document states that the 911 call was made at 11:56 a.m. and then in the PCA it states that 11:58 a.m. was when the phone call was made. Yes, 2 minutes matter, okay? Like, get it right. If you can't get right the small details, then you certainly can't get right the big details. But that's just my opinion. Okay, so then it goes on to say, more than 8 hours after seeing the intruder, Dylan Mortensen was interviewed by law enforcement at the scene and at the police department. So she was interviewed at the actual crime scene, and then she was interviewed again at the police department. It was confusing to this is the part that gets me. Oh my god, I have a headache getting ready because I already know what I'm about to say, and people still don't get it. This is the part that gets me. It states, okay, page 3. It was confusing to Dylan Mortensen that the intruder looked at her. Okay, so for you guys who keep saying, oh, he didn't see her, she literally stated, Dylan Mortensen herself to the investigators, it's in the documents. She literally stated it was confusing to her that this intruder looked at her but did not come towards her or say anything. And you all don't think that's weird? This person, let's be real here for a second, because I'm tired of people pacifying these girls as if they were clueless, okay? They were in college. They weren't idiots, okay? 5-year-olds and 3-year-olds know how to call 911. And I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm not, okay? But I am just I get very passionate and also irritated at the same time when people cannot understand something so basic. She literally stated, Dylan Mortensen, it was confusing to her that this intruder looked at her but did not come towards her or say anything. This alleged man, as most of you guys believe, Bryan Kohberger, just killed 4 people. Okay? 4 people. Why would an intruder look at her and not go towards her? Why? You just killed 4 people. What's one more? And I understand that may sound very mean or whatever to you guys, but you just killed 4 people. Okay, and you looked at her. This is her own testimony. The intruder looked at her, okay, but didn't say anything to her or didn't walk towards her. And you all don't think that's weird? You don't think that's off? Like, at what point does she allegedly freeze into place? Once he looked at her, or when he walked past her to the sliding glass door where he was allegedly carrying this vacuum-like object? Okay, there's so much to unpack here, guys. I don't know if I'm going to get it all out in an hour, but I'm certainly going to do my best. So, if you don't think that's weird, then you certainly shouldn't be on here. But I just don't understand how people can still make excuses for someone. And then the fact that people are saying, guys, that, oh, he got tired. Like, what the F? He got tired? This rage killer got tired, so he decided to leave a witness that could possibly identify him? Where's the logic in that, okay? You guys are literally scraping pennies, or you're scraping the ground trying to find defenses to Dylan Mortensen actions, okay? And there's none. There's no reasonable excuse as to why Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Fund did not call 911. You guys are trying to use their age. You're trying to use, well, how would they know that their friends were being unalive? They heard it. They heard it all. That house was not a mansion. Did you guys hear one of the last videos that all of the roommates did together? One of the last TikToks they all did together when they were in the house and they were impersonating one another. That house was fully furnished and it echoed like a mother. Okay? It echoed like crazy being fully furnished. And you mean to tell me that they didn't hear screams? Xana fingers were almost, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping all over the place because there's just so much to unpack and I haven't ate my dinner. Okay, I decided to come on live because I promised I was going to be on here at 5, so my Chipotle is sitting there waiting for me to indulge in it, but you guys are more important than me eating right now. So back to the situation at hand. I don't understand how someone can kill 4 people, and I'm not saying that this person was maybe not tired, but there's no way they're going to leave a witness. There's no way they're going to look at a witness and leave them. Okay, that just don't make sense. But this is, a lot of people ask me for my theory regarding this case, and I honestly, I can't say for certain if I can give a full theory, but I can certainly give you a partial one. In my opinion, as I stated before, more than one person committed this crime. That is like stating the obvious. With the DNA evidence, the 3 mixture DNA underneath Maddie nails, the DNA that was on the blood or the railing coming downstairs, the DNA that was on the glove found outside of the house. I just don't understand. Even without all of that, I strongly believe that there was at least 2 people involved, and out of one of those 2 people, I do believe that one of those were a female. That's just my opinion. No, I'm not saying it was Dylan Mortensen, nor am I saying it was Bethany Funk. However, in my humble opinion, and given the gravity of these crimes, I do believe that there was a female person involved, okay? Because, first of all, to unalive somebody with a knife is personal, okay? And the way that these young adults were slaughtered, because they were slaughtered, it was personal. I don't see this as being a random criminology student who wanted to know what it was like to kill. Brian Koberger was only in that town for what, 4 or 5 months, okay? Because he was there getting his PhD or whatever. So it's just like, I just don't, I don't get it. There was 2 people. I do believe that whoever committed the crimes on the second level is not the same person that committed the crimes on the third level, okay? Or maybe at one point it started out with, it happening separately, but I just don't believe that the killings first started upstairs by one. Well, I do believe that the killings first started upstairs because that's just what we were told. So I believe that the killing started upstairs, but then they also started on the second floor at almost the same time. I don't believe that everything happened on the third floor, then this intruder came downstairs to the second floor and then did what they did, okay? I do believe in some way these unalivings, the timing overlap one another. That's the only way it makes sense for it to happen in such a small window as we are being told that it happened, okay? But that's just my opinion, and I will go deeper into my theory regarding this case at a later date because I haven't gone through all of these documents thoroughly yet. So I can't really say for certain what my theory is, but I can say for certain that I believe that there was at least 2 people involved. At least one of these people who committed this act was a female, okay? And there was one person involved as well that had a closer tie to the victims, okay? Everybody keep asking, what would be Brian Koberger's motive? What's the motive, okay? And the false information that's being put out there that he was following one of the victims on Instagram or whatever, that's a lie, okay? That was a fake account. That was debunked from the very beginning. So I need people to stop grasping that, okay? Because that was a lie. Let it go, okay? That was false. That was proven to be false. Even the defense and the prosecution state there's no ties to Brian Koberger in these victims, okay? However, I do believe the other person that was involved had some type of ties to these victims, okay? This house was not a normal layout, all right? And I understand some people are saying, oh, the house was listed on Dillo, you know what room was what, blah, blah, blah. How would this random person know who was in what room? Okay, if this was a random act, then in my opinion, the first door that would have been open would have been Dylan Mortensen's door. That's the first door within eyesight, okay? Let me see, I think I can do a green screen on here so I can show you guys the layout of the second floor just so you can understand. Because I'm a visual person. I don't know about you. Oh my God. I don't go live often to figure out how to do this. There's some way that I can do a green screen on here. So bear with me, guys. This is live, okay? This is real life. So bear with me. I can't edit it live. So drawing gas full lightning. Oh my God, what the hell? I don't want to take all night trying to figure it out, guys, but I don't know. Let me try and pull it up on my. When in doubt, look at the tablet. So let me see if I can pull it up on my tablet and have you guys look at it that way. But again, this. You have got to be shitting me. My tablet's dead. I'm so unprepared today. I am telling. Listen, when you work full time and you're in school full time, life is just all over the goddamn place. So I digress right now. Okay, I can't find. I don't know how to show the green screen, and my stupid iPad is dead. So great, great for me. Let me try one more way here. Because I really want you guys to see this so it makes better sense. Okay, yeah, I don't know. If you know how to do a green screen on a live, please let me know. But, anyways, I do believe that if this was a random act and this criminology student just wanted to know what it was like to kill or wanted to create the perfect murder, as some of you guys claim, which is absolutely ridiculous. But if they just wanted to commit a random act, the first door they would have opened would have been Dylan Mortensen. When you walk through the sliding glass door, that is your first your point of eye contact, that bedroom door. How did this intruder know that the victims he were trying to find, if there was a target, which I believe there was, but how did this intruder know that the target or targets he was after was not behind that door? That's the first door they see. So why would they not go in it? And not just not go in it, but this intruder literally look at her, which Dylan Mortensen says, and yet didn't walk towards her or say anything. That's not, nobody has that good of a luck, okay? This was all orchestrated. This was all planned. And if you believe that this guy did this randomly, and was able to get away without tracking any blood outside the house, any hair outside the house, in his car, in his apartment, in his office, at his parents' house, then you're missing the mark. You just simply don't get it, okay? But again, so I do not believe that this was a random act. This was a targeted act. In my opinion, I've stated before, but if you are new here, I'll say it again. I do believe that Kaylee was the target. This crime could have happened any other night, but it so happened that it happened on the weekend that Kaylee was there. And she was only there to show her childhood best friend Maddie her new car. They hung out. They slept in the bed together as girls, best friends do, this, that, and the third. So I do believe that this was a targeted act. This was like kind of like a last chance. It's either now or never. Okay? And I do believe that someone on the inside, if Brian Kober is involved, there was someone, like I said before, closer to the victims who helped him orchestrate this entire thing. Because how would he know that Kaylee was even there? Because Kaylee had her new car. Okay, so he wouldn't have known anything about her new car unless somebody tipped him off. And the fact that these unalivings happened the times that they did, this was all orchestrated, okay? And that, yes, this is just my opinion, but I just don't understand how people are not getting it. I don't understand it. I just don't understand. And Ethan was 6'3", young, athletic, healthy, strong. He loved Xana, loved her. He had to have been unalive first before Xana, because there's no way he's going to sit and let someone harm Xana the way that she was harmed, to the point where her fingers were almost severed, and you think he's just going to sit around and let that happen? He had to have been unalive before her. That's the only thing that makes sense. And what I don't understand is, yes, I understand we don't have the full context of the text messages. I get it, Sherlock, okay? However, What is Bethany's statement about that she saw Xana wearing all black? When? Where did you see her? Like, I don't understand. And that whole, oh, my phone is about to die, all of Dylan Mortensen calling the roommates, or please answer, or are you okay? Total bullshit, okay? If you didn't feel like you were in danger, why not just go to their room, okay? I don't understand. And then when Dylan Mortensen first, and let me go to my documents, but when Dylan Mortensen first texted or called, um, well, first I believe she texted Kaylee and Maddie, and that was around 4:27 a.m. The document states. So them not answering you back at that time, you still allegedly go to sleep, and then you wake back up around 10 something or whatever, because at 10:27 is when she sent another message to Kaylee, and that's when she called Ethan, Kaylee, Maddie, got no answer. So it's just like the messages that you sent at 4:27 to the roommates that went unanswered, that didn't alarm you, but you just went to sleep. You and Bethany just went to sleep. That didn't alarm you. They portrayed themselves to be so scared in those snippets of text messages that we've seen. How can you just fall asleep? To fall asleep, you have to be at peace to some degree. Okay? If you have anxiety, or if you are worked up, or if you are fearful, or if you are in shock, you're not falling asleep peacefully. You're not falling asleep at all. There was plenty of opportunities that they called help, that they could have called for help. And for people saying, um yeah, they made bad choices that night, but I don't think they're involved, like, that's the hill you choose to climb on or choose to die on. That's on you, okay? But there's no way that I am going to experience all these events. And I'm talking about Dylan Mortensen right now. First time she opened her door, she thought she heard what was Kaylee playing with her dog, and she heard Kaylee say, "I think there's someone here." Then she heard whimpering coming from Xana's room, a male voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Then the third time she opened her doors when she saw this intruder, which she allegedly froze into place. There's too much happening in this case, okay? So this is my thing. When all of these acts were happening, when Dylan Mortensen was opening her door, you all want me to believe that Murphy was not barking this entire time? Which he was barking this entire time. And even in one of these documents, Ann Taylor, her documents state that Murphy was barking up to 30 minutes after this alleged intruder left. So how is it that no one's paying attention to that? And when Dylan Mortensen went out of her room to go downstairs to Bethany's room, she didn't hear Murphy barking. She didn't hear Murphy barking at all. When her and Bethany woke up the next morning, they didn't hear Murphy barking. Like, why is it so wrong for me to question them? Why is it so wrong for me to ask these questions, okay? I don't care who don't like what I have to say about this case, all right? I am still going to talk about it. You don't have to agree with me, okay? I know I am not always right. And when I say these are my thoughts, I mean these are my thoughts. I don't want people to jump on my bandwagon or anything. I don't need people to believe what I say in order for me to keep talking about something. If I believe something and if I believe in something, then I'm going to shout it from the rooftops, okay? I have been talking about this case from the very beginning, and what anybody has to say negative about me, it's never going to stop. When people keep asking me, imagine myself in their shoes, or what will you do, blah, blah, blah. First of all, that's an unfair question. I can't imagine myself in their shoes. I can only speculate what I would do, and I do know one thing for certain that I would do is call 911. That's non-negotiable. Okay? That's something that anybody would do. 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds can call. I was just seeing something yesterday. A 9-year-old called 911 because her mom ate all the ice cream. To that 9-year-old, something was wrong. What does she do when something's wrong? You call 911. Okay? They had more than enough reasons and suspicions to call 911, and yet 911 was not called. But your first thought is to tell Dylan Mortensen to run. Come down here. And y'all don't think those messages are staged? I just don't. These are just my thoughts though, okay? I am just stating my opinion. But there's so much that the court is dangling in our face, and people still choose not to look at it in depth. They still choose to be blind to this stuff because it doesn't fit their narrative. They pick and choose the things that fit their narrative and just ignore everything else. I don't hear these other creators who are on the side of the victim or who are on the side of the unharmed roommates. I don't hear them talking about the DNA that was on the hand railing or the glove or the three mixture DNA that was underneath Maddie's fingernail. I don't hear them talking about why did Dylan Mortensen call her dad before she called 911. Her dad, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, is in law enforcement. Okay? I don't care what anybody says, or he has some ties to the legal field or to the court system. All right? Dylan Mortensen is not a small woman. She's tall. There's a picture of all the girls, not the one that we seen that was taken on the day that they were killed, but there's another picture where Dylan Mortensen, she towers over these girls, okay? She towers over them. And I'm not going to get into the transgender thing. Some people believe she's transgender. I'm not going to get into that right now because I don't want my life to be shut down after I would say what I have to say, because you guys are so sensitive. And it's just like, I don't know how you get through life being this sensitive, but I digress. But so we're gonna go. Wait, I'm still in the motion in Lemonade number 7. If you're following along, so I was stating how more than 8 hours after seeing the intruder, how Dylan Mortensen was interviewed, where she goes and say that she thought it was weird that this intruder looked at her but did not come towards her or say anything to her. Yeah, I think it's weird too, Dylan. And then it says that Dylan Mortensen said that she was kind of in and out of it. I was really tired. In and out of it, and she was really tired, but she sure as hell got good descriptions. She sure as hell heard a lot for somebody who was really tired. All right. She said that she da, 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 da. Then she goes on to state to the detective that she did not know the color of the intruder eyes or eyebrows. Everything was kind of blurry. Like, I don't fully remember it. Everything was kind of blurry. Everything was kind of blurry, but you saw those bushy eyebrows. You was able to see that he was athletic. He was a male. You were able to see that, what else did she point out? You were able to see that he, like, was wearing the ski mask that covered his nose and mouth, blah, 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 but everything was blurry. You can't pick a side, okay? Pick a side. If you guys want to defend Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, please do it. I want to be wrong. Prove me wrong. I want to be wrong. But unfortunately, in this field, it is almost 9 times out of 10, there's always someone close to a victim that unalives them, okay? And even if they didn't take part in the actual action, they help orchestrate it, plan it, XYZ. And I just don't believe that this was just one person who was studying criminology who wanted to know what it was like to kill. That just doesn't make sense, guys. But hey, if that's what you believe, then do you. Then in this document on page 3, pictures on November 13th, 2022, law enforcement took pictures of Dylan Mortensen Rem on November 13th, 2022. So these pictures I'm about to talk about, they were authored by her. They were drawn long before these unalivings happened. Okay? So law enforcement took pictures of Dylan Mortensen Rem on November 13th, 2022 and November 19th, 2022. On the walls in her room were many pictures of eyes with prominent eyebrows, many of which she had drawn. Some of the eyebrows are heavy, voluminous, puffy, or perhaps subjectively bushy. And you all don't think that it's weird that what she noticed on this alleged intruder is bushy eyebrows? Long before these unalived, she didn't just draw them that night. Long before these unalivings happened, she had these pictures in her room, okay? And some of these pictures, as it states, were posted on her cork board. They were pinned on her cork board. Why would you have pictures, distinctive pictures of different eyebrows and eyes long before this happened? And then after this heinous crime happened, what you point out on this intruder is their eyebrows, and nobody think that is weird? Please make it make sense, because I can't anymore. I can, but people don't like when I can. But I just don't understand how people do not think that is weird. And not only that, Dylan Mortensen states, you guys like my earrings? My boyfriend got me these earrings from Pandora. But I digress. Sorry, sometimes I go off track. But anyways, she's the detective took pictures of these eyes and eyebrows that were pinned to her corkboard and like on her wall. And then it goes on to state that her interview on November 17th, 4 days later, she was interviewed by Detective Gooch and indicated that she was really asleep and probably very drunk when she woke up around 4 a.m. on November 13th, 2022. So 4 a.m. in the original PCA is when all of this starts to happen. That was when she first opened her door and stated she thought she heard what was Kaylee playing with her dog. Playing with your dog. I don't have a dog. Playing with your dog. I play with dogs though. Playing with your dog is such a joyful noise. It's a different noise than fighting for your life. Let's just say. That's fair to say, right? I think that's fair to say. How does she interpret that what she heard was Kaylee playing with her dog? And then in the original PCA, it states that she heard Kaylee say, I think there's someone here. You either know or you don't. You've been living in this house with Kaylee for X amount of time. Okay, you know what Kaylee voice sound like, and then in the PCA, they try to gaslight us and say, "Oh, well, maybe it was Xana because Xana was on TikTok around that time." I don't think they have the correct timeline of when these unalivings happen because these documents contradicts one another. Okay, it says that it is said to have happened between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. I don't think that is correct, especially if Xana got a DoorDash at around 4 a.m. the document states. And then they said, but she was scrolling on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. according to her phone records. It just does not make sense. And can I tell y'all something? It's not really funny, but it is funny to me. Under one of my Idaho 4 videos, someone called me Nancy Disgrace. I was like, I kind of chuckled for a moment because it was like, I mean, they were trying to take a shot at me, like Nancy Grace, and then they called me Nancy Disgrace. And I was like, well, you put me in the same line as Nancy, and I absolutely love that. I love Nancy. Nancy don't play around. I remember when I was a child, which is how I even came fascinated in this field, but I used to always watch Nancy Grace with my dad, Unsolved Mystery, and things like that. I'm like, who is this feisty woman? And she knew her shit. And she didn't take shit from anybody else, especially those men that would try to come for her and be rude for her. I aspire to be like Nancy Grace. So to call me Nancy Disgrace, hell, I'll take it. I will take it. But let me go back to what I was stating. I don't understand, and I don't hear people talking enough, especially the people who are in the defense of Dylan Mortensen. I don't hear them talking a lot about these artwork that she had in her bedroom of eyes and eyebrows. And she pointed out that this is intruder. She pointed out his eyebrows. Like, is she an eyebrow expert? Like, is she majoring in eyebrows and eyes? Like, that's very important. And then it goes on to state, if you skip a little down on page 4, it says she did not think, Dylan Mortensen, she did not think that she could remember enough to give composite for a composite artist. You're an eyebrow expert, Dylan Mortensen, compared to what the investigators gathered from your bedroom. You are an eye and eyebrow expert. You drew those pictures that they confiscated from your room and took pictures of. And you mean to tell me you can't describe what you saw to a composite artist? Okay, so let's say she couldn't describe it to a composite artist. Then why the hell didn't she just draw it herself? She's an expert of drawing eyebrows and eyes. So why not just draw it yourself? If you couldn't describe it to a composite artist, just author it yourself. Draw it yourself. You have all these other drawings on your wall. Draw it yourself. Did they ask her to do that? I bet you they did not. Okay? You know, sometimes I do think maybe I'm not in the right field. Maybe I should have been a nurse, or maybe I should have been a teacher or something like that. Because sometimes I feel like I'm in a different dimension. I feel like what I'm saying is not making sense to people. And I'm like, am I really in the right field? Like, is this really the right field for me? I'm conflicted sometimes because I'm like, am I really out there or do people just don't get it? And I'm starting to think that people just don't get it. It's right in front of our faces, okay? And yet people just, they still don't want to talk about it. I just don't get it. And I do see comments coming through, but I can't read comments as I'm talking, guys. My moderator, Emily, she's amazing. She's on here. I will take questions at the end. Um, damn. I gotta fix my watch. I thought it was my watch says 4:40. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, so whatever. Okay, yeah, so now that we know that Dylan Mortensen was an eyebrow and eyes expert, I don't know why they didn't just ask her to draw what she saw herself. If she couldn't describe it to a composite artist, okay, then draw it yourself, sis. But of course they didn't, because I'm sure they treated her as if she was 100% innocent. Which, far as we know, she still is, just for, legal purposes. She has not been accused of anything, her or Bethany Mortensen, blah, blah, blah. These are just my thoughts and my speculation. Just have to say that for disclaimer purposes. All right, so then we go back. I'm on page 5. It says her interview on December 1st, 2022, which was like a month and a half later. DM was interviewed again and described the intruder. She did not see his eyes, but she saw one eyebrow or two. That's interesting. But it was just like this bushy eyebrow, she said. And she goes on to say, I could just see like an eyebrow, this bushy eyebrow. Like, so you could only see one eyebrow, but this person looked at you. You stated in your interrogation, November 17th, you stated that you thought it was odd that this intruder looked at you but didn't walk towards you or didn't say anything to you, but you only saw one eyebrow? They're giving it to us, but nobody's connecting the dots here, okay? It's right in here, but everybody is choosing to turn their head, and it blows my mind. August is going to be interesting. I actually have a countdown on my phone. Call me crazy. But trial is supposed to happen right now. The date that they have set is August 11th, 2025. And I have that in my phone, in my calendar. And from now until August, I am going to try my best to get my ass to Idaho. Whether it's for 2 days, 3 days, it's definitely going to be more than 1 day, because I'm coming all the way from Maryland, and that's like almost across the country. But I am going to save up to get myself to Idaho. I think that the people deserve real coverage on this case. Not the mainstream coverage, not coverage that's just leaning towards one way. Regardless of people, what you guys may think, I am not on the side of the defense. I'm not. I'm neutral, okay? I have no dog in this fight. I am neutral. And if it sounds like that I am more towards the defense, then you need to ask yourself why. Because in all of my studies and in all of my, true crime stuff that I watched and interrogations and things like that I watch, I am never on the side of the defense. Ever. Ever. Okay? And that's not to say that I'm always on the side of the prosecution. Sometimes I am neutral. And in this particular situation, I am neutral. However, it just doesn't seem, I believe, in my opinion, that Bryan Kohberger is being railroaded, but railroaded to the sense where I do not believe he's the only person who committed this act if he took part in it. Okay, we all know his DNA was on the button of the knife sheath, this, that, and the third. We get it. I got it. The white Hyundai Elantra, all of that stuff. I understand that stuff. That proves that he probably was there, but it doesn't fully prove it for me that he is the sole person who did this. This one guy did these 4 acts in this small amount of time and didn't track any blood or any other DNA anywhere else to his car, to his apartment, to his office, nothing. He's that good of a cleaner? Is that what you guys are believing? Because I simply don't. I'm going to stop for a second to see if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments, and I will try my best to answer some of them before I move on to... And even though I said I only was going to be on here for an hour, I am hungry, y'all. I've been at school all day, okay? And I was late coming home. I grabbed my Chipotle, but I haven't ate it yet, and I am starving. But we're here. We're doing this. Okay, so I'll take questions before I go to the 911 call and to the text messages. So if you have a question, then school for what? Criminology and criminal justice with a minor in victim studies. Why do we think he hasn't ratted her out? who knows how these people think? Okay, I am not studying psychology. I don't understand. But sometimes these people have such a deep connection and relationship to one another that they just won't rat them out. For the same reason that Chris Watts didn't rat out Nicole Kessinger. And I wholeheartedly believe that Nicole Kessinger had some type of part in that crime. The same reason he didn't rat her out. But I can't answer that. I honestly can't. I wish I could, but I cannot answer that. What do you think about the text with the Uber driver? Oh my God. What do I think about the text with the Uber driver? I don't know if I can really say what I think right now, but I can tell you what I think is not. It definitely doesn't look good for Dylan Mortensen. None of this really looks good for Dylan Mortensen or Bethany Funk. And I just want to understand where the people are coming from when they're defending them. And if you are in here and if you are someone that is on the side of the surviving roommates and you think their actions are valid, then please, I really want to ask you, why do you believe that? Like, why don't you think that there's more to their story? Like, how can you full heartedly believe what they're saying and believe that they were scared, that they were traumatized, that they didn't know what to do? Question: did they rug test the survivor? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. That is a question that I had, and also like a toxicology test. Did they test her alcohol level? Because Miss Mortensen is stating several times in these interviews that she was very drunk. Okay, did she take something? Like, how drunk was she? Was she that? She wasn't. Let me tell y'all something. I was very drunk one time. A few times, let me not lie. But there was this one time I was drinking Patron and Deep Eddies. And if you ever had Deep Eddies alone is a killer. Okay? And Patron, disgusting. Never mixed the two, okay? And you want to talk about very drunk? I I don't know what happened. I don't know. I All I know is I woke up and I was clean. But apparently I threw up all over the place. Like, this happened, that happened. My boyfriend put me in the shower. He cleaned me. He clothed me. Everything. I don't remember nothing. Nothing. That's the definition of drunk. Dylan Mortensen remembered a lot. And she was detailed. She was detailed. In one of these documents, she states that the intruder was 3 feet away from her. To say that somebody is 3 feet away from you, but you were very drunk, that's a very accurate, pinpointed description. 3 feet? And 3 feet is not that long. 3 feet is like the size of a standard baseball bat. And yet he left her alive. He looked at her and left her alive. Some of you guys are never going to get it. Who's more suspicion, Dylan or Bethany? Well, in my opinion, I would say Dylan, because I know more about Dylan than Bethany. It's been Dylan's stories that switch so many times. It's been Dylan calling her dad first. It's been Dylan being the person who saw this intruder. It's been Dylan being the one who opened her door 3 times when these unalivings happened. It's been Dylan who had these drawings in her room of eyebrows and eyes that she authored herself. It was her stating to the investigators that she fell asleep watching Criminal Minds and listening to a crime podcast. So she was a true crime girly. She knows how this goes. She knows how this works. When you're a true crime person, some people, most people, I know I am, your senses are heightened, okay? When you constantly watch true crime interrogations and all of that stuff, your senses are absolutely heightened. The slightest noise, sound, whatever will frighten you. Okay? And I know she heard noises. Nobody, you guys need to let that defense go. Okay? Because we know she did. In the original PCA, the noises is what prompted her to open her door. So I don't even know how people can still argue that. But when you watch true crime and all of this stuff, your senses are heightened than the average person, because you're always on edge. You're always like, what was that? You're always overthinking something, because you watch all this stuff. All this stuff is embedded in your brain and in your mind and in your thoughts. So you're already like on edge. So the fact that she witnessed all this stuff, she was really freaked out, which is why she texted Bethany, allegedly. But not that freaked out, because she walked outside of her room. How did she know that this person was really gone? How did she know this person was not coming back? For her to walk outside her room, she had to walk past Xana and Ethan's room. Why not stop in their room? But you call them, you text them. Why not go upstairs to Xana and Maddie? But you call them, you text them. She knew something was wrong. She knew something was wrong, and she still proceeded not to call 911 because it was not a part of the plan. Again, this is all my thoughts, my opinions, my theories, but I believe that everything happened that night the way it was supposed to. There was no shock. There was no fearful young college girls. There was none of that shit. Okay, everything happened the way that it was supposed to happen. 911 wasn't called for 8 hours because 911 was not called for 8 hours. That wasn't just a mistake. Okay, that wasn't just, oh, I didn't know what to do. I don't buy that. Do you think she do you think the dad call was a I messed up call or I'm scared to leave my room one? That's a very good question because my question is how long did they talk? It states that she called her dad. Well, I'm kind of confused because I saw one paragraph where it says she texted her dad at 11:40, and then another one said where she called her dad at 11:40. So I don't really know how that worked, but the fact that 911 was not called until 11:56 and they were called from Bethany phone, either she was still talking to her dad for that duration or she stopped talking to her dad the moment that Bethany called 911 or whoever called 911 because it wasn't Bethany, but it was her phone that was used to call 911. And then it also gets me that, well, I'm going to get into the 911 call. I don't think they were in the house when it happened. I believe that Dylan Mortensen was in the house when it happened, which is why she has all these accounts of everything. If you were not in the house when it happened, it would be so easy to say, I wasn't home. I don't have nothing to give you because I was not there. But to have all of these instances that you witness and we're supposed to believe that they weren't in the house, Dylan Morrison, at the very least, was in the house. Bethany Funk, I don't really know. But this is another. I'm gonna have to get off here soon, guys. But this is another thing that I have. On the lower level, there was a door. If you were so afraid, why not just run out the fucking door and go get help? Let's say you didn't want to call 911. You didn't feel comfortable calling 911. Run out the door and go get help. This was a college town. There was somebody around the corner down the street somewhere that they could have gone and grabbed someone. You could have ran to the house next door, asked them to call 911. You could have went somewhere and be safe. Okay? It was not safe to stay in that house after you just witnessed all this stuff. Or did you know it was safe to stay in that house after you witnessed all this stuff? That's something to think about. Um I missed that question. I'm sorry. All right, so I'm going to go into the 911 and the text message documents. So first I'm going to go to the 911. And this, when I say the 911 transcript gave me chills, it gave me chills. I honestly couldn't really read the entire thing because it pissed me off so bad. How can you call 911 and you mention, like, Xana was like the focus point of the snippets of the text that we got from of the transcript of the 911 call we got. Xana was like the focus point of that transcript. So I don't understand how they can constantly talk about, oh, my roommate is passed out, she's unconscious, she's this, she's that. Don't cuss. Her freaking fingers were nearly severed because she was protecting herself from this K-bar knife. Nearly severed. But you are calling saying that I think my roommate is unconscious? You've seen blood everywhere. In the PCA, it states that Ethan was found in the same room. Why is the focus just Xana? And if Xana really was in the doorway, somebody moves her there after the fact. Because in the PCA that Brett Payne authored, which you guys know how I feel about Brett Payne, he's shady. But in the original PCA that Brett Payne authored, it states that Xana was found laying next to her bed. Okay, so how, and I don't know what side of the bed, like as you enter, I really wish I could do green screen so I can show you guys the bedroom and where the door is. So either she was on this side of the bed, so this is the bed, either she was on this side of the bed or she was on that side of the bed. And if she was on the furthest side of the bed, then how is Xana the focus point of this 911 call? Why is there nothing said? And maybe there is, and it just has not been released. But the fact that Xana is the focus point of this call, and they're talking about, I believe she's unconscious or something. There was blood everywhere. There was blood everywhere. Nobody. God, I gotta. Sometimes I feel like I need a Xanax because people just don't get it. And when they say, oh, she didn't see blood, it's like, is there oxygen up here? For the people who say, and I'm not trying to be funny, but for the people who say that there should have been blood or they didn't see any blood, did you have oxygen up here? Her fingers were almost severed. Okay, and we're in the beginning where we saw the blood that was dripping outside of the house. That was on the side where Xana's bedroom was. I don't understand, and I understand that this may be uncomfortable for you guys. This talk may be uncomfortable for you guys, but cases like these are not comfortable. Murders are not comfortable. They're not made to make you feel good. They're made for hard questions to be answered. They're made for justice. I always said my name should have been Justice instead of Justine. And if I have a daughter, I'm going to name her Justice. My boyfriend may fight me on that, but that's neither here or there. So then, okay, so my boyfriend's not even, this is just a side story. He's not even into true crime or anything like that. But I was watching this documentary and he hears me talk about this case a lot. I'm sure he's probably tired of it. But he hears me talk about this case a lot and I like give him details and things like that. And he's like, and one person did this. I'm like, exact. And he don't even know it as deep as I do or as you guys do. And he's like, and one person did that. And then I showed him a picture of Dylan and he was like, or I showed him the picture that they all took the day that they were killed. And he was like, she looks odd. I didn't even say who was who. Once I pulled out the picture, the first thing he said was she looks odd. And I'm like, I'm with you for a reason, bro. I'm with you for a reason. And then that's when I told him who she was and stuff. And he was like, I knew it. He said something just looks off. But you can't go to court with that, okay? You can't go to court with, oh, she looks odd. Or I feel that she is off. That's not, you can't argue that. That's just your feelings, okay? So I try to keep myself from saying, oh, in the pictures, it's not a genuine smile. She doesn't really look genuinely happy. Hang on, guys. I have to do this. When you're on live for a while, you have to do a verification. Okay. So I try to refrain from judging people body language in pictures because I am not an expert like that. Okay. I do see people comments like judging her body language and her stance and how she's not smiling. Her and Bethany aren't smiling in the picture. Everybody else is smiling, stuff like that. I try to stay away from that because I am not an expert, okay? But I'm not saying you guys are wrong who point that out. I'm not saying you're wrong. All right. But back to the 911 call. Again, Xana. She's the focus point. There was blood everywhere. You can't tell me there was blood everywhere. And at that point, if anybody did, but when did they go upstairs? Did anybody go upstairs to even check on Kaylee and Maddie? That's important. Let me go into these documents here. And at what point did who call EA and HG? Now, given my research from reading the comments, because I'm not going to lie, I haven't researched who EA and HJ is, but someone said HJ is Hunter, EA is an Emily girl. So my question is, at what point did whoever call them over? Was it Dylan Morrison? Was it Bethany Font? So your phone was working. You called your friends over, but you didn't call 911. And at what time did they call HJ and EA? Was it before she called her dad? Was it after she called her dad? But I digress. Let me. They just want him. They just want him gone. They want this over with. It seems like nobody really want the truth to come out. They just want Bryan Kohberger to just be killed by the firing squad and this be over with. It's so much injustice going on within this case. It's crazy. Okay, so in the 911 documents on page 5, where did I see it? Hang on. Damn, if only we could get our hands on that thumb drive that has the 911, the full 911 call on it. All right, so this is kind of confusing. So it would really help if you had the 911 call in front of you, because they label like Q1 is man, Q2 is woman 1, Q3 is man 1, Q4 is man 2, Q5 is man 3. A1 woman, A1 woman. Like, they label it kind of differently. But I'm not going to read the whole transcript. I'm just going to go through it. So it starts with, like, obviously 911, what's your location? And then A, it states, which is woman, doesn't label which woman it is, but it says, hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. So this had to have been one of the roommates. A, woman, this had to have been one of the roommates. Something happened in our house. It had to either been Bethany or Dylan that was first speaking. Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. We have you. Oh my God. Listen, if I was one of the surviving roommates, y'all would not be showing me the same grace as you are showing these girls. Let's be fucking for real. Okay? And there's no way that my acting skills are even this good. So then the dispatcher goes, what is the address? And then A, which is the same person that says something happened in our house, it says 1122, and then it says no, don't. And then the dispatcher goes, what is the rest of the address? She's like, oh, Kings Road. And then the dispatchers go, okay, and is that a house or apartment? She goes, it's a house. The dispatchers, can you repeat the address to make sure I have it right? A1. So another woman gets on the line. It says, I'll talk to you guys. We live at the right, so we're next to them. And then the dispatcher goes, I need someone to repeat the address for verification. And then this person goes, the address, 1122 King Road. And then it goes on, like, what's the phone number? That stuff is redacted. And then the dispatcher says, okay, 60 is what, line 60 is where I'm at. The dispatcher goes, okay, and tell me exactly what's going on. And then A1, which is woman 1, goes, one of the roommates, like, one of the roommates who's passed out and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up. There was blood everywhere. There was blood in that room. Don't tell me she was drunk. Her fingers were almost severed. Have you ever cut yourself and so much blood came up? And when you finally clean your cut and the bleeding stopped and you see how much of a small cut it was, imagine your fucking fingers being severed because you're trying to protect yourself from a sharp-edged weapon. And someone has the audacity to say that you were fucking passed out. Don't feed me bullshit. I am not that hungry. I mean, I'm hungry because I want to eat my Chipotle, but I am not hungry for bullshit. So it goes on to say... And then once the A1, woman 1 says, one of the roommates who's passed out and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up. How did you know she was drunk last night? Were you out drinking with her? Did you have a dialogue with her that you came to this conclusion that she was drunk? Food for thought. And then it goes, no, we saw, and then it goes down and say, oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. They or her. Now in this field you are told to you're told to look at the words, to pay attention to words. So was it they as stated in this call, or was it her, being Dylan Mortensen? Because as far as we know, she was the only person who allegedly witnessed this intruder. So I don't know. But anyways, it goes on. The dispatcher says, and are you with the patient? And she says, okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around. So they're passing the phone around to one another, which I don't even understand that. One person should have just spoke to this dispatcher. And then it goes back to A, which is woman, don't know which woman it is. It says, can I just tell you what happened pretty much? Yeah, please tell us. So the dispatcher goes, what is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now? And then A says, I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m., so that must be Dylan. A must be Dylan Mortensen, because at 4 a.m. is when she alleged all this stuff happens, okay? And then the dispatcher goes, okay, I need to know what's going on right now. If someone is passed out, can you find that out? And then A says, yeah, I'll come. Come on, we gotta go check. But we have to. Is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? Where were they? Were they inside the room? Were they outside? What are you saying? We gotta go check. Where were you when you called? And then the dispatcher go, dispatch a Moscow Law ambulance for blah, blah, blah. And then it goes back to A saying she's not waking up. And then the dispatcher starts talking, saying unconscious, 1122 King Road. And then I'm going to jump down to, who is this? A2 is a man. And then, so A2 get on the call and they're like, yeah, it's Evan. Who's Evan? I don't really know. And then A goes, okay. The dispatcher goes, okay. And how old is she? And then A says, she's 20. Dispatcher, 20 you said? The woman says, yes, 20. Here, do you want to talk to them? Why are they passing the fucking phone around like it's telephone? One person talk to them, okay? And then the dispatcher goes, okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people. And I understand her frustration because I'm frustrated just reading this. And then A2, which is woman, A2, which is man, it says, okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone. Dispatcher asks, is she breathing? This man says, hello. Dispatcher, is she breathing? This man, no. Dispatcher, okay. A2, Bethany or Dylan, I need you to talking to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. So A2 is the man, and he's basically telling Bethany and Dylan that you need to talk to them. And I feel like he's saying that you guys were here. You know more than I do. You need to talk to them and explain what the fuck is going on, okay? And then it goes on to say, and then it goes back to A, which I believe, because A, it says, in the cheat code, it says A equals woman. I do believe that this is Dylan Mortensen, A, but that's just my thought. So then after he says, Bethany or Dylan, you need to talk to them, A gets back on the phone and say, okay, hello, dispatcher, okay, I have already sent the ambulance and law enforcement, stay on the line. The woman goes, okay. The dispatcher goes, if there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. Units responding, RP's advising. She's talking to the other first responders. And then it goes, the last part we have, dun dun dun. Dispatcher goes, okay, if there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. And then the woman goes, we don't have one. Q1, unconscious, not breathing. A goes, do you have a defibrillator? Q3, who the hell is Q3? Let me just go back here. Q1 is man. Q3 is man 1. God, this is a lot of people. It would be so much better if we have names. But then this woman asks, do you have a defibrillator? Q3 says, yup. And then the woman says, yes, we have one, talking to the dispatcher. And then the dispatcher goes, but are you talking to the officer? And then A goes, yes. So Dylan Mortensen must have been talking to the officer, which is Q1 and Q3. And then the dispatcher goes, okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you. She's like, okay, thank you, bye. And then the dispatcher's like, okay. And then she goes on and say her little thing. But then at line 194, it goes to say, which is, this is very important. Pay attention. I understand I'm moving slow here, but pay attention, guys. Bear with me. Not too much longer. Q4 is man 2, which is one of the law enforcement agents. I don't know who. But this is very important. Line 194. Okay? So at 186, A, which is woman, which I believe is Dylan Mortensen, it says, okay, thank you, bye. She ends the call with the 911 dispatcher. And line 194 is one of the law enforcement personnel, and it says, 13, I think we have a homicide. You don't have to be a genius to know if someone has been brutally hurt. For the officer to say, I think we have a homicide, and you mean to tell me these adults seen Xana and simply thought she was just passed out? Who's believing this? Seriously, Who's believing this? Because I'm not. This law enforcement, whoever Q4 is, 13, I think we have a homicide. They knew that right off the bat. This law enforcement officer, you don't have to be a law enforcement officer to realize if someone has been killed or not. You don't. And I just don't understand how people do not want to connect the dots. Why don't people want to point out what don't make sense in this case? I understand it's a lot. Trust me, I understand it's a lot. But you guys have got to understand that there's something wrong here. Okay? Xana is the focus point of this 911 call. Okay? So for people who are constantly saying, which I believe was debunked sometimes last year, people who are constantly saying, oh, Ethan was found in the doorway. So if that was the case, when Dylan Mortensen left her door, there's no excuse of her not seeing Ethan in that doorway. No excuse. You mean to tell me when she left outside of her room, walked past Ethan and Xana room, because she had to walk past that room to get downstairs to Bethany room, you mean to tell me she was looking straight forward, she had tunnel vision, she didn't look around as she was walking and see Ethan in the doorway? I don't believe Ethan was in the doorway. I really, truly don't. And if Ethan was in the doorway, then why is this 911 call focused on Xana and thinking that she is unconscious? Ethan would have been the person, because he would have been in the doorway. You can't get to Xana without seeing Ethan in the doorway if he was in the doorway, which is why I don't believe he was in the doorway. The PCA, the original PCA, states that Xana was found next to her bed. Now, whether that was on this side of her bed, closest to the door, or that side of her bed, closest to the wall, the window, okay? The furthest away from her door. I don't know. But I don't believe that Ethan was found in the doorway. And if so, there is no if so. It just doesn't even make sense. Because if Ethan was found in the doorway, surely there was blood. Surely he was bleeding out. Surely there was blood. So there would be no question by the time they got to Xana to say, oh, she's unconscious. Oh, he's bleeding. He's in the doorway. But let's focus on Xana and just say she's unconscious. I just don't believe he was in the doorway. But again, who am I, you know? So this is yeah. So this is the best that I got right now, guys. I have had a long day. School is stressing me, okay? But I just want people, I wanted to get on here so people can get a better idea of where I'm coming from in this case and the things that I'm trying to point out. I'm not trying to victim blame, which you all need to find a new word, but I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm not trying to make things more worse than what they are. I am not trying to do any of that. I just want people to think for themselves. I want people to do their own research. Even, and this is me included, when you get on here and you look at creators who are talking about this case, vet what they say. Vet what I say. Don't believe everything I say. Okay? Don't believe my thoughts, my theories, nothing. Do your own research. Okay? I don't want people to get on here and just go by what I say. You have to do your own research. And I want you to do that with all of these creators. Okay? Me included. I'm not excluding myself from anything. I just think it's very important to vet things and just draw a conclusion for yourself, because if not, then how are you going to get through life? Seriously. But I appreciate you guys I'll try to answer a couple more questions before I get off, but you guys have to realize that there's so much in this case that don't make sense, and I don't believe Bryan Kohberger will ever get a fair trial. I really don't. In the eye of the public, he's already deemed guilty. Like, that's just what it is. And Ann Taylor definitely has her work cut out for her. However, there's more to this story. And as time goes on, I do believe that we will find that out. I said this last year. As we get closer to trial, more things will come out. And it's March. And more things came out that further support my stance and my suspicion regarding Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Fong. What triggered Dylan to call Hunter to come over? I don't know. Something did. And why call Hunter and not call 911? Was Hunter closer to the location? Why didn't you call Hunter after 4:27 when you text Maddie and Kaylee and none of them replied back to you, or none of those phone calls, none of your roommates picked up? If you didn't feel comfortable calling 911 and you felt more comfortable calling Hunter, how come you didn't call him then? Is my question. Why call her dad? Do you want me to tell you what I think? Setting the scene, covering her ass. She lawyered up quickly. And everybody knows I'm an advocate for getting a lawyer. I really am. Whether you're guilty or innocent, I'm an advocate for getting a lawyer. But she lawyered up quickly. Okay? And I don't know. My question is, I don't know if any of the victim family spoke to Bethany Funk or Dylan Mortensen. You know, you guys were all friends. You lived in this house. I would assume that you would have had a good relationship with them. So if you didn't reach out to them directly, sending your condolences or anything, then that you have to ask yourself why. Now, again, I don't know if they did or didn't. Okay? Wasn't there three different male DNA under girls' fingernails and didn't match BK? Correct. I spoke about that. That Maddie. There was a three DNA mixture under Maddie fingernails. Under Maddie fingernails, and none of those matched Brian Koberger. And then people was like, oh, well, you have to remember, which is true. They was like, oh, you have to remember she went out that night, she did this, she did that, so you never know, blah, 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 what could have happened. And that's true. Maybe did she scratch any of her friends out? Did she scratch three different males when she was out? Don't know. Is it possible? Yes. Does it make sense that that is what happened? No. But it can be argued. Um, what did they do between? I didn't see that. That went too fast. These questions. Why did they not mention Kaylee and Madison in the phone call? That's very. I had that question too, but then I kind of had to backtrack because we only have a snippet of the 911 call. I don't know. And if they really weren't mentioned in the entire 911 call, even the part that was redacted and sealed off, then you have to ask yourself why. Was there no urgency to go upstairs? You called them. Why not go see them? Why not go see if they're okay? Call up to them. And by calling, I mean with your voice. Call up to them if you didn't want to go all the way up there. Like there's so many, there's so much things that don't make sense, and people just still don't see it. They don't want to see it. At this point, people are choosing to be blind to what's happening. It's a conscious choice. What did they do between 10 a.m. and 11:55 the next day? Your thought is besides me because they're the people that are defending them. At first, they said that they were in shock. Well, Dylan Mortensen they said was in shock for 8 hours. That's why 911 wasn't called until 11:58. But we know that's a goddamn lie because at 10:27 is when she texts Kaylee again, and she texts Maddie again, or she called Ethan, and all of that stuff. So it's like she wasn't in shock. You weren't in shock, okay? You waste all that time by calling them. You're not getting answers. So then call 911. It's time to call 911, okay? Girl, who do you think is the key witness? Someone suggested it could be one of one of the four. Someone suggested it could be one of the four. One of what four? Are you like one of the four victims? That's a good question. If they only thought she was passed out, why would they need someone else to come over to chat? That's a good goddamn question because they knew she wasn't passed out. They were setting the scene. Setting the scene. That's a very goddamn good question. If you thought she was just passed out, why didn't you just go check on her? And my question is, did they go check on her and then call these other people over, or did they call these other people over first and then went and go check on her? There's so many ways that this can go that I'm tapped out, guys. I really truly am. I just don't I just don't know. I really don't know. What could have made her feel safe to run to Bethany room? Because the only thing I can think of is because she knew she wasn't in any harm. She knew Bethany wasn't in any harm. If I was that fucking scared, I'm not leaving my room because I don't know what's out there. I don't know if this intruder really left. I don't know if they're coming back. I don't know if there's somebody else in the house that is partaking in this act. I'm not leaving my room. Most people have a charger in their room. What do you need to leave your room for? Plug your phone in and call 911. Tell Bethany to call 911 if you didn't want to do it. It just no. If people don't get it now, then they're never gonna get it. They're never gonna get it. If you don't get it now, my suspicion with Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, then now is the time to block me, because you're never gonna get where I'm coming from, ever, ever, and you're wasting your breath trying to convince me to think how you do. I I can't do it. This stuff is right in front of our face. I just simply can't do it. Okay, I'll take one more question, guys, and then we are done. We are absolutely done. Make it make sense. A person commits a bloodbath, runs away in the same car, but it has none. None. Nobody is that good. Two of the girls fought, Kaylee and Xana. Okay? And none of their DNA got underneath, none of their hair. They had beautiful hair. Nothing was on this person found in their car. No, no drop. Nobody's good at cleaning blood. Nobody's that good at cleaning blood. Okay? And I believe, this is just my thought. I'm not fully going to give my theory, but this is the last thing that I'm going to say. I believe that one of the intruders who did this, the clothing that they committed this act in is not the clothing that they left with. And I say that because someone else on the inside fucking helped them and got rid of either the murder weapon, and also got rid of the clothes that they were wearing. There was no sense of urgency, in my opinion, for these intruders to leave because they knew they had time. They knew they had time. They knew they didn't have to rush. And what person in their right mind is going to commit this random crime, as you guys believe it's random, with, I think there were 4 or 5 cars outside? How did they not know? Yes, there's 4 or 5 cars outside, but how did you not know there weren't more people in that house? There could have been a plethora of people inside that house. How did you not know there weren't more people in that house? Or did you know? Or did somebody on the inside let you know, assure you that the people were there were the only people that was there and there was no extra people there? If you understand what I'm saying. There's just so much to this case, guys, and I am trying my best here to show grace to Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Font, but at the same time, I just can't. My brain won't let me believe that there isn't more to this case, because there is. So be patient. Trial is supposed to happen August 11, 2025. I will try my best to cover it as much as possible. The later part of this year is going to be pretty hectic for me with school and work and stuff. So bear with me. I mean, things are already hectic now. But I appreciate you guys for being on this live stream with me. I am getting ready to call my man, wrap it up, eat my Chipotle. We love you. I love you too. Thank you so much. I needed to see that. Because I'm tired. They be trying to beat me down, y'all. They be trying to beat me down. But guess what? I will gladly be Nancy Disgrace. Okay? That was not a dig at all. To whoever said it, I gotta find the comment. But I thought that was quite comical. I'm like, whatever. But thank you guys so much for being here. Even the people, like, internationally who follow me. I'm like, wow, you follow this little old Maryland girl. Like, it's pretty crazy, but it's comforting that other people can see what's going on, that other people see what's happening. We love you. Thank you. What is that, Bella? So cute. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to me talk. I absolutely, Tyler, wait, Maryland. Yeah, Maryland, Crab City, baby. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being on here, for listening to me. I do look for, I see you guys' messages. I have so many messages, especially unread messages, and I have other cases that I am working on that people want me to talk about. I'm trying to get to it. I really am. Okay, I'm in school full time. I'm working full time. I have a man to entertain. Life is pretty busy, okay? So I'm not ignoring you. I do read your messages. I take note of things. My note app is full of things so I don't forget them. I'm doing my best, okay? I'm not ignoring anybody. I will get to you. Just show me some grace, okay? I'm doing my best. But thank you guys so much for being here with me. I will try to go live more often. I'm not gonna tell you. I want to say I will try to go once a week, but that's just not gonna happen. But I would definitely try to give people time in advance to let them know when I'm going to go live. But it's been a while since I've been live, so I figured, especially with all this new information coming out, it was time for me to go live. So thank you guys so much for being here with me, and I hope you guys have a great night. Emily, thank you so much for moderating for me. You are simply amazing, girl. You are always here when I need you, okay? And you do not play about Justine, and I love that about you. I love you guys so much. Thanks for being here and listening to me, and we will talk soon.